brother would be the next one to be trusted with the keys. Let's kick it to Marcel and then just call out somebody next.
For sure, popcorn style. All right. My name is Marcel Woodruff. I'm from Fresno. Married to a lovely wife for 15 years named Jelana Woodruff. Father of 3 children, Judah, Zaire, and Josiah. And if I was going to kick somebody in the barbecue pit, it would be my pops. My pops, he gets down. I eat better than me. I got to just, you know what I'm saying, give it to him. And so it'd be my pops, man. I want to hear Church's answer, man. So, Church, man, it's on you.
Talk to me nice. Yo, true story. As far as grilling, like my mom and my family is originally from Louisiana, so pretty much like most of everybody gets down. But if we talking about like the family cookout, that's gonna have to be originated by who in the family started the cookout. Because if I come to your house and you on the grill, you're gonna have to do what you're gonna do. But you can trust and believe I'm gonna be standing over your shoulder to watching what you're doing. Because when it comes to this grilling, I really I don't even want to just I get down. But as far as my house, it's only one other person who touches the grill in my house. And that's little bro Aaron. He's sitting right here. Yeah, nobody don't. They can't. It's not like they can't do it. They just don't do it. Like I like to season everything just right. I like to let it marinate. I like to try here ribs over here, oysters over there. Yeah, you just gotta. You know what I mean? It's like I'm selfish. I'm selfish with the grill.
Who you gonna kick it to, Church?
Let me see. Steven looked like he got something to say right now. Bro, kick it to me. You got
it. First question. Steven grill.
Huh?
Steven, can you grill?
Of course. That's what I do.
Oh, okay.
I had the little barbecue restaurant, TNS Extreme Barbecue. So that's what
wow. Hey, I didn't know that. Cool.
Yep. And so I'm gonna go with Isaiah.
It'll have to probably be my big cousin Nate. Yeah, he been grilling for a minute at the family reunions, and pretty much have those sandals. Probably that uncle that have those sandals, that really, y'all know what I'm talking about. But definitely my big cousin Nate. He get in. Yeah. I'll pass it to let me see. Jefferson.
All right. Jefferson Strickland, Stockton, California. Family grilling. I think we all pretty much can hold our own. But if I had to pick somebody, just based off who I feel, they get down and like to do it, it'd be my big cousin bro, Sean Amos. Usually that's what he do. He take that position. Me, I'm not gonna do it because I just don't like to use my time doing that unless I absolutely have to.
All right.
I'm gonna go with let me see, Terrence.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm gonna come to y'all barbecue. I ain't trusting nobody else. I'm just playing. I'll probably go with my Uncle Ernest. You know what I mean? Y'all go with my Uncle Ernest. I think he'd be cool, or myself, but yeah, for sure. Probably my Uncle Ernest. But I'm coming to y'all barbecue. Cousins.
Who you kicking this to, T?
Let me get to my cousin Charles Stewart.
Hey, yeah, I'm very competitive when it comes to cooking, and so I mean, it more than likely would be me, and maybe I just found out my father-in-law he gets down really well too. So, but I don't know, like I'm a young man coming for the throne, so yeah, it'd probably be me.
Okay.
Oh, and hold on, who's left? My bad. Let me see. Oh, brother Ryan McClinton.
I kicked it off, but
wait, let me see. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Okay, brother Michael Baldwin. Excuse me.
Right, I'm Mike, man, and well, if I at the cookout, man, I'm the grill master, so I ain't passing it off to nobody, man. I'm gonna hold the torch, and I'm gonna fry it right, and so So I don't see nobody else, man, that I can pass it off to like that. Not yet. You know, I'm really out here by myself without too much family. I got makeshift family right now. You know, my family is all the brothers and sisters that's in the struggle with me. So usually when I invite them over, man, I'm coming over. They coming over so I can cook. And so I'm on a Marcel. That you the one kick this off, right?
No, I went second.
All right. So we're gonna go with hey Steven, what you got?
I already went.
Isaiah.
I think everybody went.
Everybody went.
I think it's just the iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone. I think only
iPhone.
one. But they at work.
So everybody went. If you are showing, if you're not showing, how do I put it? If you're showing your profile picture and you've canceled your camera, just know that that on the live side of it, they won't see you. They can hear your voice, but they won't see you when you're speaking. And we're already live, and so some of you know I tagged each one of you in. And so if you want to take a second, for those of you that haven't already, go ahead and share the conversation from my page or yours onto your page. And then we're good to go. So I wanted to, first of all, like I said, I thank everybody for being in here. I know that you guys have done a round of introductions. My name is Tony McNeil, for those that are watching that don't know. And I am the founder of the Anti-Black Conversation. And so one of the things that we are doing this month in Anti-Black Conversation Spaces is we are celebrating the Black man. We're partnering with Stockton Black Family Day, which is going to be the first weekend in September, and they're honoring the Black man this year. And so I was super excited that I got to be a part of that, because I work with some pretty profound and amazing Black men. I have the opportunity to see them do things that in the community that a lot of folks know nothing about. They don't see them. These men are behind the scenes. If you see them up front, I promise you, in most cases, it was just default accident, because these men, these brothers are always pushing other people forward. They work with youth. They work, you know, in the community. They do various things. A lot of them, you know, secret, unsung heroes, all of that. And I know each one of them unique. So what I wanted to do before we do anything else, Anti-Black Conversations, one of the things that we do is, what we try to do is we have real transformative conversation in order to actually counter some of the narratives that are out there. So for example, just throwing it out there, what are some anti-Black, well, what is anti-Blackness first? Let's start with that. Anybody, just a couple of you guys. When you hear the term anti-Black, anti-Blackness, what's the first thing for you as Black men that comes to mind?
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and jump out there. To me, I really don't like labels and terms, and specifically ones that have been given to me, you know, by people that have not, you know, gotten a chance to get to know me or love me. And so I'm going to use the term so-called Black and say that anything that is oppressing me or has me feeling like I don't belong in a space, or I'm not welcome or wanted, to me is anti-Black. And, you know, when you use the word anti, it's opposite. Like, it's, you know, when you start talking about superheroes, you know, you have kryptonite with Superman. It's anti, something that's meant to weaken him. And so we have a system that's in place that hasn't included us, and it's meant to weaken us. So to me, that's anything that's in place to weaken me and not allow me to be what God created me to be, and it's defining me as something less than a child of God, is anti-Black for me.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else, when you hear anti-Black, as a Black man in particular, what comes to mind?
I think for me, anything that denies that blackness is beautiful, right? That black manhood is beautiful, and that and denies just the rich legacy that black men have, and that we operate in this country, and just the stigmas and stereotypes and just the tropes that accompany that make us feel like we aren't even worth being on the planet unless we shooting a basketball or doing some other so.
One more. Anti-Black. When you hear anti-Black,
I think I'd say just to add on to what has already been shared, anti-Black is anything that takes away the value of Blackness, that creates somebody else's value of what Black is, and doesn't let it be its full capacity and ability and beautiful and everything that it is and whatnot. Anything that systemically is constantly working against you, be it implicitly, explicitly, or otherwise. I think it's something that is a construct created to continue to strip down the value of Blackness and who we are in our complete humanity. That's what comes to mind for me, on top of everything that's been shared.
Oh,
Go ahead, Church.
My thing was going in and out. My bad, y'all. Yeah. So the question is, when I hear anti-Black, what comes to mind? The question is, when I hear anti-Black. For me, when I hear that, I instantly think someone who's against me, or this doesn't really support me for just the skin I'm in. Someone who doesn't take the time out to recognize how beautiful I am just for my skin tone. Someone who isn't educated on the fact that my Black is beautiful. If you're anti-Black, that means you are considered what I like to say just a flat out hater, period. Just to keep it clear.
So one of the persons in the chat, Aaron Chapman, he said when he hears anti-Black, he hears anti-me. Does that resonate with any of you guys? You hear anti-Black, do you automatically think anti-me? Like, do we think anti-Blackness when we hear it? Is the Black man at the top of the list?
I don't, me personally, because I think it's certain people with the same skin tone that can also be anti-Black. And I think that's one of our actual issues in the Black community, especially Black men. Like just the fact that we can't support each other just to support each other. I think a lot of us hold different standards for Black folks that we don't hold to other people against us, and I think that makes us somewhat anti-Black.
I agree with him. I was waiting to see if the question to come out later for this response, but when I hear anti-Black, first thing pops in my head is the hood.
Okay.
When I think anti-Black and a lifestyle that I once lived, I don't see nobody that does more destructive, that go against Black men as Black men. A lot of us came from a lifestyle, regardless on what was ushered in, what was conditioned on us. We pushed the envelope. Anti-Black, we disguise it with other things. We disguise it over the blocks, the colors, and the hoods. But when it all came down to it, we hated ourselves. We hated other Black men. We destroyed other Black men, other families. So to me, the most anti-Black is our willingness to self-destruct and constantly aim at each other. Regardless of how go ahead.
When I think about anti-Black, the first thought that comes to my mind is Willie Lynch and some of the concepts that he laid down that made me think of other people as being, Black people being as they were my first targets. It was important for me not to target anybody other than Black. So my first targets were Black. And so when I think about anti-Black, I think about Willie Lynch, and then I think about my own past and how destructive I was towards my own people and how destructive I was towards myself, right? It makes me look at my own mind first to see if my mind has anti-me up in there, right? That's working against myself. And so when I think about anti-Black, I think about that old Willie Lynch letter, man. and how destructive it still is in our society and in our world and in my mind, right? Because I can't really push it on nobody else until I pump it in my own head, you know? And I just really agree and stand in affirmation, man, with everything that's already been stated as well.
So then what
I
are,
think one.
oh, who else? Somebody else gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say something that came up as Jefferson and Michael were talking, and even church to a point. Like I think about anti-black being a lane that was created for us to run in that wasn't designed for us to thrive in. So, Jefferson said something about like, in the hood, we've pushed the line further and further and further. Absolutely. Because one of the things we're trained to do is run our race and run it damn hard. And what anti-blackness has done, especially in this country and perpetuated across the world, is that it gave us a lane to run in that we shouldn't have had to be in the first place. It gave us a lane of being a threat. It gave us a lane of being a risk. It gave us a lane of being harmful or perceived as harmful, even to one another. So the further we got down that lane, the harder it is for us to recognize that we're running the wrong race. This race wasn't our race. This was a race that we were told to be in.
Absolutely.
You say
And
right there. Oh God, you striking nerves like
Totally.
now.
That's literally
I'm,
the quote I use somewhat. Hey, bro. Hey, I
Oh,
got.
go ahead,
I'm
Joe. Go ahead, church.
Hey, no, just true. It's true story. It's like you can't even. That's something you don't even want to follow because that's almost a mic drop right there. So
Right.
absolutely.
it's I feel it to the last bit and pieces of the back of my soul and to the front of my heart.
Right. I mean, like I have goosebumps on my arms, literally. And I'm trying to be cheeky. When you said that, it made nerves stand on edge because that then segues into then when do you realize, as Black men that you are running a course or a lane that was determined and prescribed for you by systemic oppression and racism? And how do you then change lanes? How do you transition? That's one heck of a thing to do.
Can I say
Yeah.
where like I said something and I would be remiss if I didn't say it again. I don't define myself by labels that my enemy ascribed to me. So I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna set that there one more time for you guys. I don't define myself as anything that the enemy, has prescribed me to be. And so I think for me personally, that was the beginning of me waking up when I began to see that I was, just me going to prison, I had no choice but to sit back and analyze what had got me there. And with me studying history, I was able to connect history and connect my circumstance and remember, back when I was growing up, a lot of the things that I aspired to be, I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 81. And so I remember when the community was together. I remember when it was everybody in church. And I remember when it was like nobody was doing drugs and, so forth and so on. And so when I found myself in that place, I began to realize that I had accepted counterculture values from someone that never meant well-being for me. Images were put in front of my face. Music was put in my ears. All of a sudden, my peers, it was cool to do things that were wrong. And so when we start talking about this gang banging culture, like that's why I for a fact know that I'm not no other Black person's first enemy, because you have someone that set out an agenda to get us to buy into these concepts and see ourselves as that. Then we begin to act these things out. So the reality is that for myself, I began to realize that when I accepted these images of what I was trying to be from an enemy that bamboozled me and tricked me, I was appalled. And so I began to take back my identity and begin to see myself how God sees me. And that was the beginning for me personally. So.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question to the group to build off of what Charles just said there? Where he said that part of, I began to take back my identity and hold who I am. At what point are we able to even see who we actually are, right? Versus who we've been told to be. So when does that reflection moment come up for you? That's like, wait a minute, this what I'm looking at don't look like who I know I am.
Right.
All of the choices that I make, I have an internal fight every single time I make a choice where I'm like, yeah, I can get down and do this, but do I really want to? So when is that moment for y'all?
For me, to address both of the questions, for me, when my wake up moment was when I got in a position and understanding to love myself. I don't believe that anybody can bring in any change far as loving and loving other Black men until I learned how to love myself as a Black man.
Yeah.
I believe one of our biggest struggles in finding identity is that we never had one. I'm still
Yeah.
learning what is a true definition of what is the Black man. My definition of a Black man growing up wasn't it. You know, the Black men I seen and I modeled after was the ones who had the things that was worth looking at. You know, had the cars, had the money, had the respect, had the power. They was hood figures. So as I got older and I realized that the path I was walking was destructive, not only to me, but to my family, to my kids and other people who looked at me for no other reason that I hate these people because they wear a different color and they have the same struggle on a different side of town. So before me to change all that, I had to change how I felt about myself. I had to not only trust myself that I can be more than what I was, but also find a way of building hope within myself. And then in turn, looking in the mirror, adapting to what I wanted to be and have enough courage to actually love myself. And in turn of loving myself and finding love, I was able to love others, you know, to just change all around the board. But I think it all starts with how we look at the person in the mirror.
Right. You know, I know that for myself. I found myself, man, I woke up inside a cell, man. It was like 2:47 a.m., man. I was in Salinas Valley. And I just got finished with a riot and we on lockdown. And I woke up at 2:47, man, with the thought like, man, I left my kids. What the, how in the hell I get here? It was like one of those, you left the iron plugged in moments. Up until that point, I hadn't even realized that I was a father. It was like I was in a fog, like something had like covered my eyes and I wasn't even conscious that I had babies. And I had left my babies. And I had left them with nobody to fend for them. It was like the first time that I wondered if they was cold, if they was hungry. I had left my babies, man, and I had a double life sentence. And I'm looking out the cell and I'm crying, and I hadn't even cried when they gave me these life sentences. And I was crying because on the inside of me, it felt like I had done something that was counterintuitive for the first time in my life. And I realized that I was a father and I had left my kids. And that was the first night that I was introduced to my conscience. Because up until that time, I had shut everything down. I was just in survival mode and anybody could get it. That day, man, I woke up and I realized that I didn't want the identity that I had adopted. And I had to have a time where I had no identity. I had to reshape the voices that were in my head. And some of those voices I had to disconnect from was my mama, the hood, everybody. Because they was raised by slaves. I had been raised by slaves and everybody had taught me to be a slave. And I was just adopting what I had been trained to do. My reactions, my everything was, all of my impulses were like honed to destroy me. I mean, somebody called me the N-word, man. I used to take off, take flight, you know, and I had to strip down all of that, those responses, man. And I went a couple of years without an identity at all. Didn't know who I was, didn't know how I was going to protect myself, didn't know what I was going to do. But I began to study and to really evolve inside of my spirit first. And just like the brother said, I found a way to love me and to accept me, you know? And that was how I began to make a shift. I used to do an exercise on a prison yard, man, to let a fly land on me and not shoo him away, because I was so emotionally charged that I felt like an emotional time bomb. It was like I was on a hairpin trigger and I needed to let that fly symbolize my emotions and my thoughts. I couldn't react to everything I thought and everything I felt. I had to learn how to just sit in it. And I learned how to sit in it because as I sat in it, I was learning how to discern who was in my head. Was that thought mine or was that thought given to me? Was that my best interest, or was that something given to me? And I had to separate those things. And man, and it took me a few years before I could really trust my judgment, because my judgment was designed against me and it was coming from me. And so that process, man, and it's still ongoing, because now that I'm in the world, I'm in the community, some stuff can come all the way right back. And I'm having to slow myself down and slow my impulses down so that I'm not just reactive and just reacting to stuff before I discern, where is it coming from? Is that me, or is that something that was given to me?
I want to make sure that I make space for others. I've seen some people that came off of mute. Stephen, at some point you came off of mute. JJ, I see you off. Was there anything that you guys wanted to add to the things that are being said, even if it was something that was shared previously?
Excuse me, y'all.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Terrence Stewart. My computer was glitching in the beginning, and I didn't get to formally introduce myself. And I'm Terrence Stewart. I'm out here in Southern California, you know, and like, you know, I think like everything that these brothers say is absolutely correct, because it's like multi levels of like blackness, like, you know, and like different levels of even anti-blackness, you know. You know, whether it like, you know, whether it's at school, whether it's at work, whether it's how like, you know, people perceive us, you know. Me and brother Marcel, you know, it's like you can have even a high level of education, right? And people don't even treat you like you got it, you know. And it's obvious, you know, when you go looking for houses and stuff like that. It's like people will hit you with cold microaggressions right off the back to let you know that they ain't even gonna rent to you. You know, because, you know, just when you walk in, you know, people already, like you said, not only have we been conditioned for this anti-blackness, but other people have too, you know, and it goes both ways, because like every time something that brainwashes us, it's not just brainwashing us, it's brainwashing everybody in the classroom or everybody else who's watching it as well. Like, this does something to us that, like, I feel like, you know, would kind of drive some people to self-hate. You know what I mean? And then it drives other people to anti-blackness. You know, and like, you know, both things is happening at the same time. You know, that kind of plays into the identity of what W.E.B. Du Bois talked about, the double consciousness of a black man. You know, so like, you know, I think like the thing about blackness is a very complex thing. And to Charles Stewart's point, you know what I mean? Like, you know, who told us that we were black? You know, you know, like I looked at the dictionary definition of the word black, and it's like 7 definitions under that, 7, and only one of us is black. Is us as a people. You know what I mean? So like, when some other ones is evil and wicked and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Which demonize us even further, and then the whole idea of light being white, and like, you know what I mean, ridding the world of darkness. You know what I mean? All this stuff, these battles that have been going on for years, they play into these colors that we have prescribed to ourselves and let them prescribe to us. You know what I mean? So I think like that's what I think about a lot of the stuff that just been said, and getting my little 2 cents in.
So I have
Hey, what's going on? I'm
myself
sorry.
and JJ, but let me have JJ go first because he had a comment, and then Isaiah, let me have you present your question, okay?
Hey, what's going on, everybody in the room? I'm JJ, about to be 42. But a lot of us have a misconception of what a black man is, period, in general, because when we're younger, the man was taken out of the house. We didn't get a chance to see a man growing up. You know what I'm saying? We seen males. Well, we didn't see a man. We didn't see that man in the house taking care of what needed to be taken care of, fixing stuff that needed to be fixed. You know what I'm saying? They were snatched out the house either to violence, drugs, police, what have you. You know, the mom and dad couldn't get along. Dad didn't know how to be a dad. Mom didn't know how to be a mom. You know, all those things. There's no rule books on parenting, so sometimes dad didn't stick around. Mom, you know, there was no mediation, you know, to find out the problems and get to the root of things, to let's squash everything. So dad is gone. Boom. So then who we left with? Guy on the block, the guy outside, not the man in the house, but the guy. You know, like what is it? What are the qualifications of a man? Let's get to that, and then we can start building men. You know, paying bills. How do you pay bills? Do you got to balance the budget? You got to teach these young males how to be men, and not even the young males, just males. Period. It's some older males that I talk to now every day, that's older than me, that don't know how to be a man. You know, so we have to eliminate that right there. Every male you see is not a man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're man. We all pee the same, but it's qualifications to be a man.
Yeah, but like, you know, like, but we can't give up, right? That's what church said,
Right.
cause like, right, because like, I didn't grow up with my father, you know,
Okay.
and because of that, I vowed to myself that I'm going to be the best father in the world, you know, and be determined about that, you know, like, you know, I mean, like, no shade on nobody in my family and stuff, but like, I wanted my children to have the same parents. You know what I mean? I wanted to grow up in the house with my kids. I wanted all that stuff that I didn't have growing up that I felt that I needed, you know, and like with self-hate and everything else too, with this fatherhood, because like it's a bunch of people talking about this, but like for me, I got cool with my father when I was 27 years old, you know, and you know, it was one of the best things I ever did in my life, you know, because I was holding so much hate in my heart, you know, and that hate was in me, you know what I mean? It was in everything I did. And it made me and my father look just alike. So it made me hate myself. It made me not want to be called Terrence. It made me not want to like be ashamed of my own name, you know. And it took for me to get to forgive my father, to put to be back in my father's life, and to forgive him, and to do that. To I feel like for me to be the father that I am for my kids, you know,
Right.
because I was holding on to too much, you know. So like, you know, I just feel like sometimes, like, you know, even if you didn't have a father, you know what I mean, you don't have to like settle to be the same scumbag, you know.
Absolutely.
I feel like. Can I
Isaiah
say?
had a question. I want to make sure that you good? Okay.
Go ahead, you got it, bro. You got it. You got it.
No, I could ask. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It was
Hey,
just
I'm literally you got your question because I probably want to answer your question, and then I want to go back to like 3 comments ago because I've been holding back, just trying to collect everybody's thoughts. I love this shit. Truly, I love it.
As I'm listening, and I may be wrong, you know, because I'm still probably the youngest one in this call, but as I'm listening, we hear what part of slavery played into this, and excuse me for my French, but what part of the house nigga and the field nigga played a part in the anti-black conversations, you know, that follows up to this, you know, because you know I can deal with somebody that's white or somebody that hates me, you know, on a level from that understanding because I know what to expect and I know how to deal with that. But if I'm dealing with a church on the ground and I don't even know what an anti-black conversation is, then I would mean that church have, you know, more than me. He have more chains than me. He have diamonds in his chain, you know, and I want to attack that and, you know, take that away from him and downgrade him. Or that might be fake jewelry. You know, he probably did some extra stuff, you know, and that becomes the anti-black, like, well, you know, I don't even care about that. He gotta, you know, he cut hair, but you know, he probably not the best barber in the shop or in Stockton or whatever, and that becomes the normal conversation of just anti-black conversation. So I just want to say, from a mental, what part in a mental aspect does that play on just the everyday black man?
Can I know the brother, after you get in, can I say something? Because I think that's the perfect question. So I'm going to get space for the brother. He said something first, so.
I literally knew he was going to say something like that. That's why I told him to let him go because I knew I was going to want to say something after he said something. Literally. Facts. Right when we started this conversation off, I had said that, like when we mentioned the anti-black question, most of us hate each other for reasons that we don't even really understand, that we were born into, that our fathers were born into, that our great-grandfather's great-grandfather were born into. And we try to dissect things and say this is this and this is this. But at the end of the day, it's hard for us to get back to any conversation if we don't really understand the conversation that we're actually having on a black man. Or you can say, like you had mentioned, oh, I see church with the chains. Why am I mad that he has the chains instead of acknowledging the fact that he has a change and that he can be doing something instead of assuming that I'm selling drugs or whatever the case is. Wait, I think my shit just stopped.
Can I add something in there while you keep going, Church, just real quick?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's breaking up a little bit.
This whole thing glitching.
Yeah, but if I was up.
Can y'all hear me? Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
you
you
now, though, Church.
Yep.
No, I was gonna ask real quick, Church, if I could throw something into that part that you're saying. Can you on mute, Church?
You got it.
No. I want you to keep going, but it was something that you're saying that Isaiah spoke to too. Is that part of where you're asking, like, at the end of the day, it's hard to get to that conversation because you're like, instead of wondering, like, is he doing something positive for that chain? We can't even have the conversation of what did he do to get that chain that I can learn to do? How can we share and learn that? Like, we can't even get there because of the barrier is so strong in that self-hate and whatnot. And I think that's one of those intentionalities of that conditioning to it, is so we don't talk to each other, right? We size each other up before we actually acknowledge each other and say, bruh's doing something I need to learn about. And I just want to see him shine more. But I want you to keep going though. But like when you said that, like that was something that just like was like at my neck. You know what I'm saying?
What I was getting to is, if you go back to a lot of our stories growing up in the inner city, well, most of us, as to us without fathers and things of the nature, we didn't really know how to be men. Like he said, we didn't even have men examples. We had people we knew that were of age and that were doing things that we considered cool. So we would adapt to that mentality. But why not have the mentality to where, why would he even have to ask? Let me just spread the knowledge. So I've always adapted to different kind of games. So when I did sell drugs. It's no hidden secret. I sold drugs, but when I did sell drugs, I never tried to be the biggest drug dealer. I never tried to be, I'm gonna get $1 million. I always tried to find my lane, get in my lane, steer my lane where I needed it to get, and get out of that lane. But upon my lane, I would share my lane with you, as to the point, if I seen you doing your thing and I'm doing my thing, but you coming to me and you spending your money with me, I'm gonna move out your way. I'm gonna connect you with who I connect with, so you can get the same thing I get, and we can be at an even playing field, so we can further ourselves. And I'm gonna move the fuck out of your way and let you win, because at the end of the day, as a black man, this is what we were not taught. We're not taught to love each other because we don't really know how to fucking love ourselves. So,
Exactly.
Can I get in there, please? Please.
Oh my God. Boy.
I got a little bit more for you, and I'm gonna let you slide. I've been get in with y'all. So see, my thing now is I want to see you win. I'll wake up and I'll see something on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll be like, we don't really connect, but I like what you're doing. I'm gonna slide in your DM as a female would and say, my brother, I'm proud of what you're doing. And it shocks a lot of people because they don't expect that kind of shit. They be like, let me try to see what church is doing. So
I tell you, go that way. I don't want you stepping all over my stuff, nephew.
Ooh, somebody in trouble.
That's the black woman right there.
A lot of people
That's right.
know what you do and how you react. But at the end of the day, I think it's a past that we have that makes us who we are, but the decisions we make on our own as men, as an adult, especially black men. Like we have all the world for us to holding us back, but we don't really take advantage of those excuses, to the fact that it made us stronger. It made us study harder. It made us fight harder. It made us listen more. It made us recognize shit that people can't recognize, just for the simple fact I've had to listen to the police coming and notice, are they coming to kill me or are they coming to kill me? I've had to go in a building fully dressed, suited to the T, and still get a side eye like, oh, this fake gangster right here, look. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that I have just as many degrees as you, but I grew up different. judge me for that. So I think a lot of times you can use the excuse to hold us back, but we can let that build us and we can be stronger. But it's harder because, like you said, we don't really have men like that. We don't really have people preaching that shit. And when we do preach it to the hood, they look at us like, oh, you a square. And then we just tend to shed it off as, okay, they don't really need it. But I think it's important for us to try to start fighting harder for each other, man. Like I think not only do we not know how to love one another because we can't love ourselves, I think we don't even really try hard enough to do that. And as Black men, I think it's more important that, like I said, we started a race that we were already behind in. So when we catch up, it's like, okay, I caught up. Now I can spread my wings. No, I caught up. Now I can work harder to get further ahead in this race, because at some point that race is going to change and I'm going to be on a different course while they still on this course and I'm still going to be on this course. And they're going to try to switch it on me just so I can be back behind this race again. And we just got to be prepared for it. And I think it's important that we start realizing that every day is a blessed day for us, because not only do we know not how to live, we don't really know what living life is. So it's important to live life and love it for different reasons, because we're different people and we just got to accept that.
So
I want to let you in, but I can talk all day, bro. My bad. I know you want to.
But what I was gonna say is that you touched on something that was like so critical, and for myself, like I really don't. I mean, I'm with these conversations because it's really important for us to start having them. But I really like to personalize it, because at the end of the day, like you said, we didn't have very many OGs that walked it out, right? We don't come in this space. I'm 38, 39, and my everything that comes out my mouth, I didn't live it. Like I didn't seen it, I didn't did it. Like I didn't overcame the impossible, right? From in a time that there was a trap that was set up. And yeah, I went to prison, but that was the best thing that could have happened to me during the late 90s and 2000s, when there was this agenda for us to kill one another over resources, which brings me to a major point about what you were saying. I remember my cousin, when I first got out of prison, and my cousin was like, he was doing his thing, like he was balling, you know what I mean? And I wasn't hating inside, but what he got me to see was he kept saying I was a crab in a barrel. And I was like, I'm not no crab in no barrel, bro. I was like, I've been working on myself in prison. You know, I love my brother. And what I finally had to come to realize was that because of my childhood and the circumstances, I have been tricked into being in survival mode. Barrel. And so when you go into survival mode, God created us to be abundant. He created us to be creators. He created us to give and not like hate. And the reality is that when you put some people in a barrel and they think that it's either my survival or yours, I don't give a damn if you black, brown, purple, blue. I'm gonna go at you because it's my survival or yours. And that's what. And we haven't understood that we're all fighting for a space. There's only so many black doctors that they're gonna let in. There's only so many black like back then anyway. You know, it's different now. They created a lane where we're all athletes and rappers. You can sell at being an athlete and rapper, but there's so many ways to make money. It's ridiculous. The rappers and athletes ain't making no money. It's these other people behind the scenes, right? That ain't acting like crabs in a barrel, because they like I don't know. I want to say
in a barrel.
When I accept the crab in a barrel mentality for myself, I begin to see that, like, as I begin fight with my brother and sister for survival, I just took myself out of that. Like, and I don't fight for survival no more. I create my own lane, and I know that hard work pays off, and that God blesses the child that has his own. So let me just stop with that.
I want to say something really quick. So let me pin this for a second. And so now me in this space, and I love the fact that God just is allowing me to even be in this space, in this time, in this moment. I see, some in the chat, questions in regard to, well, where does a woman fit in this, and how can she help, or what have you? So I'm going to speak to that as a Black woman. The Black man can speak to that if he desires to, but first, Queen Elder Tony, go speak to that as a Black woman. In this space, as I'm listening to these Black men articulate in such profound wisdom and intelligence, around what it is that they already have to contend with within themselves, and in their minds and what have you. The afterthought would be, where do I then as a woman fit into all of this? In the midst of this dialogue, where I fit in is to provide the space that they need to deal with their intellect, their internal dialogue, and wisdom. And so for me, one of the things that I would want to say as a Black woman is that sometimes, Queen, you need to step back, sit down somewhere, be quiet, create space, give peace. Trust the intellect, trust the intuition, trust the wisdom, allow the dialogue to take place, and don't find a place where you have to squeeze yourself in. And if you feel like you need to force fit yourself in, then you need to come and talk to other women that can help you with your insecurities as to why you feel like you need to force fit yourself into a space where men need to actually create, as far as healing and what have you. Now, there is a place for you. However, sometimes you got to push pause and you need to wait, because what it is that they're talking about, man, I had to even go off camera and push mute, in order to allow the heat, because it was fire. And I was like, oh, they don't even need, let me back up. I have the platform that was created, but let these brothers work this thing out. All right, that was it. That was I'm done.
I see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a few things because, man, that was fire. Everything that was said in that entire stretch. Church, my brother, let me get your name one more time. Charles, everything y'all said, man, just fire. The things that came up for me, though, as I'm listening to that, one, I'm going to the survival piece of it, right? We are put into a survival state. We were put into a barrel. That's where it comes from. We have walls around us that we shouldn't have. It's hard for a Black man to dream because all you're given is barriers and containers that tell you you're not supposed to thrive. So when I think about that, I think about every man on this call. And as a matter of fact, as I ask this question, as I make this statement, I just want everybody to give a head nod if this is your truth. If you're fortunate enough to make it to 30 years old, you've lived those first 30 years of your life under 100% survival mode, not expecting to get to 30. You couldn't think about 30 before then because you didn't know you was going to get to 30. And if I'm wrong on that, if I'm lying,
you was wrong about the age. It was 25. Remember?
Maybe 25.
Look, for real though, right? That's the actual age, right? So and I'm gonna tell y'all exactly why I love that y'all said that, because for me, and I was saying this to my partner the other day, my lovely Queen Ebony, that for every year of my life from 13 till 25, I was like, damn, I done made it to, 18. I done made it to 17. I done made it to 19. I done made it to 21. I'm a triple OG at this point. I ain't supposed to be here. I done made it to 25. Then I hit 30 and I'm like, oh shit, I'm a grown ass man and I didn't expect to be here. I never thought about what life looks like after 30. So then the real deeper work goes into that point of like, okay, so what does that look like? And then at 30, I'm 34, so I was turned 35. At 34 years old, I was hit with a reality that hurt my soul. And it was for 30 years of my life, I was afraid to dream. For 30 years of my life, I was afraid to dream because I didn't know if I would see the other end of that dream. I didn't know that I'd be around to see it. And the heartbreak that it hits for my family, that what I'm fighting for, that dream ain't even for me. It's for my family to be better. I'm so worried about those that I got to take care of that I want to see them win. So if I don't make that dream, then I'm feeling them even more so. But I got to be allowed to even have a chance at that dream. So it just puts this question on, how do we realize how long we've been stuck in survival state? As Church said, and as a brother of mine said in a rap song a while back, I realize we're alive, we ain't living. How do we create the constructs for number two start living, to start thriving? One other thing I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna get off because I know I'm talking a little bit, but man, y'all got me fired up with it. Another thing to the question that Elder Tony was saying about where does a woman fit into it? There's so many different ways that y'all give to us and pour into us that we desperately need. But one thing that she said to me, and this was a thought process, right? She's giving me so much thought that's helped me grow. She said to me, and I want to ask this question as I stop. She said, you deserve to be protected. How many men on this call have heard that statement more than twice in your life, directly to you? I'm not saying to a group, directly to you, that somebody told you you deserve to be protected.
For me, well, just to answer that immediate one, I haven't really heard that, to be honest. To go back to the survival mode thing, as unfortunate as it was, we all played our part. Well, I ain't gonna say we all, I don't know what y'all did, but I know I played my part in surviving. And survival was, survival. It's me or you, and if I can help it, it ain't gonna be me. And when it comes to the women, my first thing is, always openly honest, man. Where do you guys fit in? Until we find a way to create space within ourselves, you don't fit in. Period. It's hard to have a woman fit into our life or fit into us spiritually, mentally, when we're so full and clouded with other things that we're dealing internally. I think for a woman, the best thing you can do is keep your man covered, prayer, keep him covered spiritually, be that help, be that backbone, that support that'll help us can just continue to grow within ourselves until we create space. A lot of us, it's hard to love or let our intimate other in when we got so much hate built up toward ourselves. And as long as we're full with all the stuff that we battle with every day, all that front when we out away from home and how we got to be around the homies and on job, that certain man platform we try to keep ourselves on. And, until we break that within ourselves, our women really don't truly fit in with us because we don't allow them to fit. There's no room to fit. And I think it goes back to like JJ and Church and them spoke earlier. A lot of us, we found out and we're still learning what a man is to this day. I didn't have positive male figures like that to teach me what a man was, and a lot of us, our childhood, we wasn't taught to be men. We wasn't taught to excel. We was taught to survive. We adapted a certain lifestyle that we carried. A lot of us are older now that didn't plan on being here. So it is tough when you made an age that a lot of people spoke to you that you wasn't gonna make. Like, oh, I made it now what? Because we navigated our way around the process of really selling ourselves to even learn what a man was. As a father, I do try my best, especially to my sons, to pour into them what a man is. But at the same time, it's still difficult because I don't have the man support even now in learning what a man is, especially a Black man. I can't just, I can look at books and history and see how the system played a part, but truthfully growing up, only destructive things I've learned that went against us as Black men was other Black men. So before we even create a group or even try to overcome this, we got to learn how to trust ourselves. There's a few people in this call that I've trust now because of our relationship grew. But for the most part, if one of y'all was to, hit me with some positive stuff in the inbox, my trust ain't there to just really open up to another Black man or to get in a group and discuss things with another Black man, to even put myself in a position to take that advice. It's not the best, but it's just, it's an honest conversation. A lot of us, we talk good now, but there's a lot of issues and stuff that we have to face. And I believe this is the start. I see Church hand up, so I know you got something good for me.
Before you do, can I introduce Pastor Kevin McDowell? He came in, and one of the reasons why. So I'm very, very intentional about who it is that I allow in certain spaces in the platform. And I brought him in, and when he asked if he could, he said, "How do I get in?" He is also from the block, also from the concrete, also all of that. And so I was excited when he asked how he got in, and I went ahead and dropped him the Zoom link. So he had said something in the chat, and I wanted him to be able to respond to that. He said, "We can mentally put ourselves in the prison of our mind because we miss the fact that we don't have to ask permission." What do you mean by that? And can you bring your camera down just a little bit so that, there you go. Okay.
Can you see me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Sister McNeil, for this invitation into this Zoom meeting. I did get the announcement via Facebook and didn't know if I would be on, but I had some time, so I wanted to chime in. Thank you, brothers, for all that you've said. I've been listening, heard some great information. just so you know, and I'm very transparent, I'm currently right now 63 years of age, born in 1957. Heard a lot of good stuff that you all said. There was a brother that said something earlier about he did not find himself until he got to prison. And I put that in the chat because there's many people who have not even been to San Quentin, been to Folsom, been to any of the major prisons, but they're walking around right now in the prison of their own mind, simply because they were not taught as a child, and I'm talking to me too, how to integrate and how to develop the skills that I was born with. There was a song that birthed this in me back in the 60s. I think it was maybe the 70s. Some of you might know it. It was simply called Ball of Confusion, and it was sung by a group called The Temptations. And I have to say something spiritual, because God takes the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. They said some things in that song. Number one, they said segregation. And sometimes we as Black men, we were raised in the realm of segregation. I'm from East Oakland. I was raised when the Panther Party was coming along real strong. And matter of fact, I lived right down the street from them. So I saw racial profiling. I saw segregation. I saw all of that stuff. I saw brutality and all of that stuff. I witnessed gangs before they got to where they are now. But the fact of the matter was, we weren't taught about segregation. Segregation simply means what our forefathers went through when they were separated in the 60s, 70s, where Black kids couldn't go here, Black kids couldn't go there, Black kids couldn't do this. But the fact of the matter is, there were some ancestors, their parents, before their parents, who were the creative force to what we're enjoying today. Black folks have created many great things, and we are enjoying some of those today. So we have to get out of our mind that I'm no longer going to be segregated, because I'm going to be determined to take what's on the inside of me, pull it out of me, and be demonstrative in what I do, what I show to who. Be the role model to my kids. Somebody said something about the wife. Be the role model to the wife. I'm going to say something spiritual again, because the word says a wife will bring her husband before great men. So if we love her, cherish her, adore her, appreciate her, submit to her, sacrifice for her, she will do everything she can to promote and affirm us as we move forward. The next thing was integration. We've got to be able, here it is, to stop wanting to ask people for permission to start my business, to write my play, to write my book, to build a school. We don't have to ask for permission. We have resources. If you look at this Zoom meeting, I think one of the things that befall Black men, we don't know how to celebrate. We don't know how to collaborate. We don't know how to congratulate one another. The thing that we do is we complain against one another. We have to turn our mindset, release our mind, so we're no longer in prison. Because if you stay in prison too long, you'll be aggravated. Aggravated by what? What the system is presented to you. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want any of you to be bound by the system. My success is not predicated on what you think about me. My success is predicated on what I release on the inside of me. And if I don't release it, I'm going to stay in the prison of my mind and always ask people for permission. Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? No, you ain't got to ask for permission. We have the articulated skills if we walk in the spirit of humility and be obligated to what I want to birth. Because what I birth will produce a legacy. A legacy for who? My kids' kids. A legacy for my kids' kids. We got to ask ourselves a question. Great dialogue. What am I leaving? What am I storing up? What's going to follow me when my time is up? That's what I meant by that, Sister Tony. We don't have to ask for permission. Whatever's on the inside of you. And some of us, maybe all of us, we got a book inside of us. Birthed a book. Come together collectively as men. I got chapter 2, you got chapter 3, you got chapter 4. I don't know what we're going to title the book, but there's a book in this Zoom meeting.
Yeah, the significance of a Black man. And that's real. I was thinking about.
Can I say something, sister?
Marcel, I wanted to ask you, I'm popcorning now. When did you stop asking permission? And how, and what was the difference?
permission to operate freely in my in my blackness as a male. It was a process. It was, there wasn't just a definitive moment. I remember the beginning in which I realized that my views in the world were distorted. Like I was at a store and I saw another black man and I wanted to get on him. I thought he wanted to get on me, but I've been married at this point in time and my father-in-law said hi. And just by saying hi, that young black man smiled. He's like, oh, and his whole countenance changed. And I was ready to get on this dude. And I seen just in this little small interaction that he and I are both thinking wrong. And then so I started to realize that maybe my way I was moving the world was distorted. And as I began to challenge those distortions, I realized those chains weren't really there. I realized I was a lot freer than I thought I was moving in the world. And then over time, I began to operate this in my fullness and in my own authenticity as I challenged myself to move beyond.
Stephen, I haven't heard your voice. And so at what point at what point, or is there an example of a time where you stopped asking permission?
I just, to be honest, it's like, I just know I had to take the lead for my boys. So I just took it upon myself because I really had no positive role models in my life also. So I just knew I had to make a change for my kids. And basically, my wife helped me with all that because like no men in my life helping. My wife was in my ear. She was all off in the church. I wasn't trying to hear that. I wasn't trying to go to church, but I was following her. And I should have been taking the lead, but I followed her and it all worked out. So that's what I just took the lead then.
So can I ask a question then, Stephen? You said that you weren't taking the lead, you were following her. Do you see any leadership that was an example to your sons in your following her?
Yes, because if they would have followed me at that time, I was headed down the wrong path. And she had her head on straight. I was still in the streets, and then like she was on me about going to church, doing this. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that. That's not me. I wasn't raised in church, never really went to church. So she just kept being on me. She's like, well, you got a big example for your kids. And then one day I went to church and there was a little sermon that they had. We was driving home. And she said, you're going to have to make a decision. I said, make a decision. She said, you're going to have to choose the streets or your family. I said, what? I got to choose the streets or my family. Be quiet. I said, the streets of my family. I'm like, and me being raised the way I was, really, I had my stepdad, he was in and out of prison. Really nobody there. I had to help take care of my house at a young age. I got 6 brothers. My mom passed when I was 19, so I had to help take care of them. So the streets is all I knew. For her to say that, I'm like, I choose the streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be in the streets. I'm gonna get this money. If I gotta take care of you and my kids from a distance, because we wasn't married at the time. I said, if I gotta take care of my kids from a distance, financially or whatever, I'm gonna have to do that because I'm not gonna be broke to be with you. That's the words that I told her. But then after time went by, she was like, you're gonna have to figure it out. We can't keep doing this. So I was just like, well, I'm gonna try this, start going to church with her. So she helped me be the man that I am today because I didn't have no men in my life to, help me with that.
And I appreciate that because I want to now ask the question for you guys. Now I can ask the question, what role does the woman play? There's a lot of Black single mothers out there. And I'll never forget, my mother, her biggest concern was that my son was going to be lost for real because he did not have a male role model in the house. And so I could raise 3 girls, but there was no way I could raise a boy. And I had to tell myself that I refused to adopt Charles, that narrative, because I served a God that was so much bigger than the circumstances that I was dealt. He knew that I was going to have a son, and he knew that son was going to need to know how to be a man. So what say y'all in that?
Can I go real quick because I got to step away?
Yes.
When what role does the woman play? Man, I think she plays the most extreme role. Um, when it comes to my life, my wife made a big difference. Sometimes it's our wives who spiritually see something in us that we don't see in ourselves. Um, they look at us from a different lens. You know, they're not looking at the problems that lay at hand. They're looking at what the man could be. And a lot of them, when they play that position of let me help you get to where I see you, or where God has gave me the vision to see you, you know, that becomes very uplifting and supportive. For me, to be honest, you know, it feels good that when you have that woman, and you know, a lot of us know your woman can either make your day good or she can make your day terrible. She, you know, we give our women that power. I asked somebody the other day, I was like, man, to me, love is, you know, giving somebody all the tools to hurt you and then trusting that they don't use it against you. Our women have every tool they have to break us down. We when it comes to them, you know, men feel good when we come home and we can take our armor off. You know, our women are our holders of our deepest secrets. We give them our deepest pains. They know our deepest struggles. Um, they're our therapist. Um, you know, they're the ones we run to. I might just need to hold and cry and lay in their lap. You know what I'm saying? Like, we make ourselves comfortable with them, and they give us what a lot of men have been fighting for our whole life, and that's peace. You know, they give us mental peace, they give us physical peace, they give us spiritual peace. You know, so the role of them in our lives is the utmost of importance. You know, I think as men, we just have to also realize sometimes it takes for us to be humble and let the woman take that lead. My wife used to always try to get me to go, you know, with finances. Let me run it. I'm better at it. But I had this false pride that I'm the man. I'm supposed to, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't work when I was leading it. So when I finally humbled myself and said, here, baby, you know what? I'm gonna listen to your advice that you've been telling me for 2 years. I'm gonna listen. And then she came back at me, oh, stuff is taken care of, bills is paid, and you got a savings. Like, oh, what? You know, but it took for me to really understand what a man is and humble myself to say, okay, if my wife is better in this position and she truly has interest, man, go with it, you know, and learn from her. You know, I think a lot of us have just been really taught a fake, a fake assumption of what a man is, and that a man is not supposed to let the woman take a certain position and lead, and that's just a false narrative that we have adopted.
Mm.
So to me, before I step away for these few minutes, the importance of a woman, to my Black queens, I love y'all. We need y'all, and without y'all, we will not make it. Be back.
Mm.
So now can I, and this is the part where I
Mhm.
love being in this space. I'm really against, like, there's a part, this space for me is for us as Black men. I'm not saying I don't love my women and my sisters, but as a whole for the community, you got to start calling out the bull crap. And so as a whole, if we're gonna get on the Black man, we got to get on the Black woman. So the Black woman is not doing her job. She doesn't know how to do her job. She's been taught the same thing that we've been taught. So we got to stop sweeping stuff under the rug. So let me first say, and that's what I wanted to say, Elder Tony, you doing what you have done every single time I've come in contact with you, for me, is so empowering, uplifting. And the white man and the system is not teaching us to value the Black man's voice. I don't understand how we having conversations about a Black man in any space, about him being protected, how he feels, and everybody's the expert but the Black man that didn't live there. That just bothers me. But you have created a space. There's been many conversations we've had. You sat back and you let us engage with one another. And as long as it's healthy, we're not tearing one another down, you just let it take place. And so I say there's a time and place for everything. That's what's said in the Bible. If we create a space for that, let the agenda, go forth. So I just say, in this space, what you're doing, is huge. And a lot of women can't do that. They can't hear the pain and frustration. We can't do that with one another. We can't sit with one another and hear the pain and frustrations of one another without it triggering one another. You know what I mean? Without it triggering each other. And that means that we got to go inside and do our work, right? Because if someone else is telling their truth and they got you wanting to fight them or not, you can't hear it, at that space, like you got to be supportive of that person. And so anyways, to the questions, when it comes to our sisters, when you tied yourself to a Black man, right? And you don't identify with his struggle, like, to me, at the end of the day, that's the point where we got to be able to work through our issues and hear each other out and begin to build from that place to have something real, not material, not what they told us we can have, but something real between one another. And so, like I was saying, I really believe opportunities and spaces like this create a new norm, and not us talking about foolishness, not us talking about nobody else's business and nobody else's agenda, but being authentic from the space that we're at and the place that we're in right now. And so thank you. To me, like, that's what my wife has done. I will put her on camera, but she's laid out. We're getting ready to have a baby, and she's right here, and this is how I talk to her, and I'm always challenging her. It's hard. It's hard when you hear pain. It's hard, specifically for a woman. Like, it's a woman's nature for her to be our helpmate and to console us when we're at certain points. But to sit in that space and allow that man to get that out, right? And we don't have that. Like, we come home and I've been getting, for that's a whole nother story, but we're getting chastised for what we're not doing based upon somebody's understandings, based upon a rigged system, and it's not meant for us to succeed. But if a woman is there to support you and hear you out with your frustrations and so forth and so on, man, it just goes such a long way. And that's what I got in my wife. It's taken us a while. We've been fighting. That's another thing. It ain't always pretty, but we fight and we work it out. And from her giving me the space, we keep coming back and working through our issues. So just the space.
To build on my brother's statement, man, and just gems on gems on gems you keep dropping, bro. I appreciate you so much, King. I really do. Especially giving honor to your wife in the way that happens, the process, because I think it's easy for us to get lost in the reality that it's not easy. It's not going to be easy, and it shouldn't look easy, right? Especially when you're dealing with pain and trauma. Nothing about pain and trauma is pretty comfortable and nice. And I think one of the things, to build on everything that's been shared about what's the role of a Black woman and what ways that you support, I think it's in that part of helping them teach us and helping us understand how to actually heal. One of the biggest challenges we have is that we have wounds, and we know we have wounds, and we have them so guarded that we won't let anybody get close to them. And as what Jefferson was saying is that with our partners, typically, I'll say our partners and our moms are the two people we're most likely to let get all the way to that soft spot. And we're praying that you don't use it against us, right? Because that's something that feels like we cannot come back from. And when that happens, it can either freeze us up or it can be completely liberating, right? It's that part of, can I trust you, and how do I know that I can trust you, right? So part of it is, like he was just saying, opening up the space for me to even get it out. So much of it we can't even get out, right? When I can get it out, then I know where the wound's at. I know how deep it goes, and I use this analogy all the time. If I had a broken rib and a lacerated spleen, and I go to a doctor, and the doctor's like, okay, I'm gonna take care of your broken rib. Well, great, thank you for taking care of that broken rib, but my spleen's still lacerated, and I'm going to be compensated for that pain in other ways because it's still not healed the way that it needs to be. So until we can get in and address that wound, that deeper wound, as well as a broken rib, we're going to constantly be in a space of pain and operating out of pain, because we've been learning to readjust our walk with that trauma attached to us, living with us, walking with us, right? We're recognized by that trauma and that pain, right? I think the other part of it is like, and I love that he said this part, sitting in that tension of just letting it get out. I can't tell you how much in my last 4 years I've became so comfortable and almost thirsting for the uncomfortable space, because I know some things are getting addressed that haven't been in need to be. And it's in the even deeper need goes to, who can I connect with to understand what this is, right? We need to learn so much. There's so much we talk about healing and doing your own work and all that, which definitely has to happen. But if you don't know how to do the work, how are you ever going to do it effectively? We need that shared learning environment and experience, and especially from someone who knows how to heal, to better do it. It also takes, as Elder Tony lifted up, stepping back and being humble sometimes, right? Your life experience is not the life experience of everybody else. So it's a lot of people have similarities and whatnot and different experiences of it, but you have to trust that expert in their life experience to inform you of what it looks like and what it's been like, right? Don't get mad at them. And this is where I think that healing has to happen, right? And it's not just for men, it's for women too. If I'm not completely healed by something that happened in my life experience, when I hear something about yours, it's going to trigger me into a defense mode. which might cause me to lash out at you and harm you where you're being completely vulnerable, which now creates distrust. And now everything you're saying, I'm like, I'm skeptical of, because not only did you hurt me when I was being vulnerable, but also I don't know what direction you're coming from anymore. I don't even know what we're engaging in anymore. So now I'm trying to do this dance of getting us back on track, but now we're both playing this swing and miss game, because we're like, okay, I don't want you to hurt me, but I don't want you to hurt me, but I want you to know that I'm on guard if you do hurt me, so you don't take it for granted. And yet we're still not getting to the root of the healing that needs to happen so we can fully hear each other and learn from what that life experience was. So I think there's so many ways that Black women are able to support us. And I'm also mindful of this too, because this is a privileged part, and it's a challenging privileged part that I'll say from my own experience. I'm not going to put it out there for anybody else, is that we put so much burden on a Black woman, where in the same part of saying, I deserve to be protected, or hearing that I deserve to be protected, the Black woman needs to hear, you deserve to be loved and cared for the same way that you care for everybody else, but nobody prioritizes that. So we're both in that space of acknowledging those two things. Now we're like, okay, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute, wait. There's some wounds there that I didn't recognize in you and in me. So instead of me getting mad when I see you, respond away, let me try to hold ground, hold patience, let it pass, let it get out, and then we can talk about it and dialogue about it. But I'm gonna stop because I see my man Church with his finger up, and he's been driving gyms all day. So, Brad, please.
Yo, true story. I'm so disappointed I haven't got to speak in 30 minutes. And I say this for the simple fact that Jefferson has dropped gems, Ryan dropped gems, Charles dropped gems, and I was still trying to get back to the crab in the bucket conversation. I am so disappointed. This is so unfair to my knowledge. I do not like it. I promise you. Because let me rephrase that. I'm an engager in conversation. I like to ask questions and to figure out where your mind is when you get there. So when I process it, my mind can process where you were going with it, so I can feel it in my soul. Because not every day do Black men get together and have a fucking conversation. That's actually a conversation that can uplift souls, uplift minds, change lives. We need this, and I'm lightweight disappointed, but we praising Queens, and I'm not about to let y'all skip me in this one. That's out. We ain't doing that, because there is no Joseph Church Truehill without Taisha Truehill. Let me first start off by saying that. Secondly, where women fit in, they don't fit in. The women have a lane that starts here, just like a man lane starts here. If they choose to meet, they have to meet in sequence. That's how you lead the lane. That's where you fit. You need to make sure that I fucking drive you the right way. You need to make sure that I go the right way when I'm going the wrong way. You need to make sure that even when I'm wrong, I feel like I'm right when you express to me that I'm wrong, so you can uplift me and not tear me back down into the space that I am when we get back to the crabs and the buckets. Because not only am I trying to lead you and trying to provide for you, I am trying to lead me. I am trying to for me, I try to keep my mind frame in a frame to where I can be respected, not only as a Black man, not only as a Black man, not only as a Black man, but as a man in general. Because being a man and being a Black man is not the same thing. It's two different things. You become a man, and then you become a man, and then you become a Black man. See, it's different. I was born a Black man. I can't change it. But becoming a man, that's two different things. So every day I wake up, I'm a Black man.
Church.
Not every day.
Church. You know me. Hold on, cause I don't mean no offense, but you done blew some shit up, like just bombs just exploding all over the place, and I'm sitting here trying to just wait a minute, man, just wait a minute. You're moving too fast.
This is Jefferson's fault. This is Charles's fault. This is JJ's fault. This is Stephen's fault.
I got so many notes, I don't even know what the hell to do. So
it's all your fault. You too.
Trying to get in while I fit in.
Hey, we need one of these in person.
No, right. The social distance is killing us. And JJ, I've been trying to get you to open your doors at your shop in order for us to actually have this kind of. I can't even go there.
Oh, we can. No, we can.
Wait.
We can set it up.
Back up. Wait a second. Church. Okay, you become a man. Then you become. Wait.
Hey, hold up, man. I feel just like you, bro. And let me be real. I don't hop on and be authentic completely until we have that conversation. I tell people that all the time. It's snitches, it's bitches, is, excuse my language, I'm not saying fag and sexual orientation. I'm saying fag and people that have no direction. Like, you have a lot of people, and so I won't even really engage in, like, this is just hurried game, like, you know what I mean? But when you build in a relationship, and that's the problem, like, in prison, we were politic. All we had was this. Like, I got the game from all of the OGs that was successful or unsuccessful, that learned from their mistakes all day long. Like, that's for 13 years in prison, that's what I got. From 18 to 31 was game from the most successful and unsuccessful people in a life that we were given, that were telling me, youngster, you don't want this. Even though all your peers is going a certain direction, this is what you want to do. But what happened is that you can't have that real conversation unless the person is ready. You end up fighting someone, like the Bible says. It says, don't throw your jewels before swine, right? Because not only will they step on the jewels, but they'll attack you for it. So I'm saying that to say, I feel just like you do, bro. I really rock with you, and I'm looking forward to us all continuing this, man. And at the same time, for the people that ain't getting in, I understand why you're not getting in. But then what happens is everybody, whether it's woman or man, you have leaders in the space that, the reason why I'm able to talk like this is because I done lived it, I done did it. And that's when you start talking about, not, once again, not saying look at me to follow me, but I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm one of the people that you can follow, because everything that comes out of my mouth, I'm ready to die for. See, that's a man to me. Forget a black man. I was taught a man is only as good as his word is, period. Like, period. So at the end of the day, right, for me, black, purple, blue, if your word ain't right, if you ain't solid, I don't rock with you, bro. Like, if you act one way in front of people and act different, I don't get down with that. So let me say, and there's people on this call that know me, like, and you can call me on it whenever. Like, you can pull my card. Please pull my card. But with that being said, hey, bro, I really rock with you. I look forward for us to continue this conversation, and I'm gonna bow out.
So Charles, I promise you, I love and appreciate you, and you already know me. So when I say Switzerland, I am neutral Switzerland territory, but I also know whom it is that I labor amongst. So I don't even bring people in that aren't emotionally intelligent enough to actually engage in transformative conversation. Until you've reached that emotional intelligence level in a one-on-one interaction with me, you don't even get in this space.
Can I say this? And this is the part where you as a woman, you're bringing people together. And that's the thing where, like,
you hit mute.
I know in the community, and for whatever reason, we can't come together. I've been out in Stockton now laboring for 8 years, and there's 3-4 people on this call that I know personally, and in real life, we can't get along. But see, if we were in prison or we were really in the same type of street context, we would be forced to get along. But for whatever reason, we're not able to get along. And so I'm saying that to say, that's why I said that. Like, we're bringing people together, and I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm not gonna play that. Like, I'm not gonna, if my face is here, this is my name and likeness and who I am. So this is what I'm gonna represent myself as. And for me, as a black man, like I said, in prison, a lot of these dudes that was cowards, fags, hoes, they got exposed, man. Out here, they're able to, whatever, within the Nation of Islam, what we would say is they get behind the women, period. They don't get a chance to lead and talk and have a space, because that gives a false image of what a man is. If these young boys are confused on what a man is, they're gonna grow up being fag-like. That's what the problem is. The real men are being quieted, and I happen to be one of them. And so back to what I'm saying, back to what bro said, I just think that was important. He said, I wanna have a real conversation with you and politic and pick your brain. And bro, here, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I know you know what I'm talking about. You know, to do time. And to me, and once again, not saying like, oh, you should go to prison to find yourself. I'm saying right now, there's a reason why every single leader that I know has went to prison. Every great leader has went to prison. That's a part of their identity, because the most oppressed find themselves. Like, the one that's been broken and hurt, like, they find themselves. And so there's a whole bunch, and there's a reason why they attacked the image of the prison complex, where they made it like we're gay and this and that. They came after our image, because for a whole generation, and they knew they wouldn't have to let us out. They knew they were gonna have to let us out, right? So what they did was they attack the people that got sat down, that got a chance to go with inside themselves and find themselves. And they knew it. And so I have a problem with, I mean, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Like, I don't listen to nobody that don't walk the walk that I walk. I mean, you can support, we can rock some type of way if you get in where you fit in. But when it comes to the system, like if we're talking, and that's what we were talking about, we're talking about anti-blackness, and this is a system conversation. How can you have this conversation with people that are, you're working for the oppressor? If you have a job and you're working for the oppressor, you're not working for yourself, you're a part of the problem. Look at yourself and realize you're a part. If you have a job and you're not working for yourself or for an organization that's building up your community, you're a part of the problem. And you can't say nothing about that. If you want to argue back and forth, we can go. But the reality is you're working for somebody that's oppressing somebody that, you know what I mean? That at the end of the day, I don't know, but I'm saying that to say within the system conversation, it's only going to really, like, we're only going to make a difference and evolve when people begin to realize that the people that should be talking, you should make that space and everybody else should listen. That's like back to what the brother was saying. I understand a man following a woman because there's no other men. There's times in history where the most wisest voice in the room is a woman. It's just, it's a fact. You know, there's queens that led at that time, but it was because the men, maybe they all died in war. Who knows? But when you have a man that's willing and he's capable, bro, you step out the way and you let the best lead, period. That's the only way you're going to be successful.
So at the end of the day, what I wanted to say in church, I'm going to you. At the end of the day, sometimes God will use whomever it is that he chooses to use, period. And so I'll go, even Old Testament, Deborah, there was a prophet. God called and actually asked others and assigned others to do a thing. At the end of the day, Deborah, that prophet, was the only one that said, okay, I'll do it. And so that's why her name was great. And then she went down in history, but she was the connector of. And so all I see myself is as a bridge and a stepping stone for individuals to reach areas. And typically, and women, it takes a minute to break down the blah, blah, blah of this when I'm dealing with or interacting with other queens, is that I know my lane, I know my gifts, I know my skills. My ability is to be a stepping stool because I have the strength to house strong weight, to lift people in order to reach what it is that they couldn't reach if they didn't have that ladder or that stepping stool too. So I'm a bridge, I'm a connector, all of that, whatever it is, but to God be the glory, that's the space I get to hold. Church. So one, you said a whole lot of stuff. And the reason why I had to have you push pause is because you were dropping stuff so fast that people couldn't even grasp it. If I can't grasp it at the pace that you're dropping it because you're blowing up my nervous system, then I gotta say, wait a minute, wait. So one, there was something that you dropped and you said, and we're going to be able to come back on the 12th, remember that, with the couples that are going to actually, and it's going to be 4 couples, Church, you and your wife, JJ, you and your wife, Marcel, you and your wife, and Stephen, you and your wife. And so, but what I wanted to go back to is, one, if she's in one lane and you're in another, and you actually in secrecy choose to actually come together and drive. So one, in secrecy, I caught that. In private, I caught that. Choose to combine and join in the same lane. That was one. So it's a choice that is made. Then it is her responsibility to ensure that you don't veer off into another direction. That you maintain the dignity, integrity, or whatever the structure of the direction you guys go. So she's helping you be successful, and she's ensuring that this thing doesn't get derailed and doesn't. I caught that. And I caught those notes, and you in wisdom know that that's what's taking place. Something had to transpire in that. Is it a learned behavior that you got from a male role model? Or what happened that caused you to come to that realization?
So this is where I was getting to when I was saying that. In order for you to become a man, you get to a certain level of understanding what an actual man is. Not a grown-up, but a man. It's 2 different things. So with me, my thing, I actually was blessed to have found a woman. Not a girl, but a woman. So when I found a woman, she caught me in the middle of young man process into actually becoming a man, actually understanding what a man was. And I say that to say when two people meet, I come into a situation as a man. I'm big, I'm bad, I'm strong. I walk, excuse my French, my balls hang. So I come into it thinking already in my mindset, especially as a black man, from the crab in the bucket, back to that analogy. I lead, I'm strong, I know what I'm right, I know when I'm wrong. You're gonna follow me, or we're just not gonna be together. That's where I was as a fucking boy. So when I met my wife, was it was different for me because she was already calm, cool, collective. Not only that, but she actually allowed me to think that I was leading things, and to turn when I started to realize that I wasn't leading things, I started to realize everything that she was doing for me. So I say that saying that you have to realize that in order for you to be successful as a black man, you not only have to be a man, but you have to realize that you are different. You are a black man. You started in race, like we said, that was you already losing. So you're catching up to that. You started in another race where you didn't really have father figures. Not all of us was unable like that. Some of us did grow up with our fathers. Some of us were raised with actual men in our life. But 9 times out of 10, we didn't have that. That's two. Secondly, we grew up in a situation where we could be basketball players, we could be drug dealers, we could be pimps, or we can be Max. That's what we thought. We didn't understand that we could be teachers, we can be surgeons, we can be doctors. We can do anything in this world. So with that being said, you get a woman that allows you to walk in your own trauma. But not only, this is where you fit as a woman, not just a black woman, but as a woman to a man. This is where you fit. I have trauma that I was already born with. I may not understand and how to recognize that trauma, but just in case you can, I need you to allow me to walk in my steps to understand the trauma that I have. That's where you fit. I need you to uplift me and not hold me back for the trauma that I have, because my trauma may lead me to do things that I may not lead you the right way in, or I may end up hurting you in. But understand that I'm doing that because I don't understand. Not only do I not understand, I want to understand. So help me help myself, so I can then in return help us, so we can be from me and you to us. That's when you become a man and a woman as husband and wife. So when you become a man and a woman as husband and wife, it's a different level of understanding. Not only do you have more responsibility, but as a black man, as a black woman, now you have a different kind of responsibility. You have to succeed. You have to succeed. You have to succeed, and it has to succeed in excellence. So now you have the extra amount of pressure on you. And this is why I wanted to start thinking when y'all brought up the queen shit. This is a queen. So my woman, just my woman in general, this is why I was so passionate when I started talking, because this is the whole thing that I was getting to. I'm here, but my woman has me here. Not only does she allow herself to sit here, but she's comfortable with being here, because as long as I'm here, she's always going to be right here. And that's my responsibility, to never let her feel like she's not appreciated. So what I do is I'm going to do whatever the fuck I have to make her feel appreciated, and then return show my daughters how a real fucking man is supposed to be. Yes, you're not gonna yell at my daughters. You're not gonna yell at my queen. You're not gonna do it. Oh, we're going outside. You're gonna wait at that door until I put my kids in the car, and I'm gonna open that door, and I'm gonna allow you to sit down and close that door, because that's what I feel like a man is supposed to be like. And I feel like that because that's not what I seen when I grew up. I seen that shit on movies, and I thought it was funny. This dude's a geek. No, that's a man. You know what I'm saying? So everything that I wasn't taught, this is when I get back to when I said that we have a certain built-in behavior that we're already born with. We have to get out of that. So if you feel like we were already born behind, why would you continue to do the same thing that we've been doing and expect different results? So I do everything differently that I wasn't taught. I didn't have a father in my life every day to tuck me in. So I tuck my daughters in every night. If I'm out of town, I call them. We zooming. Until you get sleepy, you finna sit here and look at me on a Zoom call, and then you're gonna go to sleep. And then when you wake up, it's still gonna be right there. So just in case I wake up before you, you're gonna see my face, because I didn't have that. I didn't understand what love was. I had a father. No, I had a dad. I didn't have a father. I'm going to be the greatest father I can be. And in turn, I'm going to be the greatest husband I can be, because that's what I didn't see. That's what I didn't have. And then I can spread that joy and that life off to my brothers, so they can feel that, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to feel like. And the only way I can do that is she allowed me to do that. She can't hold me back. She can't keep me from being great, because If I'm great, she's great. So if you're great, you have to spread your light onto me and let me be great. Not force me to be great, not force me to be great, not force me to be what you think I should be. Allow me to be what I am produced to be. We all are born with our own bit of light, our own bit of greatness. Please help me find it. That's all I need you to do. That's the lane that the woman fits in. The woman has her own bit of greatness. She's going to be great regardless, because no man can go through what women go through. If you can't fucking carry a baby for 9 months and push that shit out and feel that pain, you can't say nothing to no woman, period. I don't want to hear nothing. So a woman is already built with a certain amount of strength that we just don't have. Shed that on me and help me be great. That's where a woman fits. That's what I wanted to get to. And then going back to the fucking my bad. I just want to get it off because I don't always get these kind of spaces. I'm usually the person people call like, man, I'm going through it. You know what I mean? So when I get to talk and I get to hear like the same shit I go through, but in a different form of greatness, I love it, man. I just get so emotional, y'all. I'm sorry if I'm just talking hella much, but I love this shit. I really appreciate y'all, I promise you. But what I was getting back to is our mentality. It's like that. The mentality is always survival mode because we were born like that. But my thing is, how long are you surviving, and how do you know if you're surviving if you haven't really lived life yet? You can't survive or live if you don't even understand what living is. This is my thing. I was born being held back. Yes, we were. We all were. Just for the people I'm looking at on this screen, I know we were because we all the fucking same color, period. So I know we were held back. So with that being said, now we're taking in the mindset of we don't have greatness. My man, I heard him say 13 years. When he said it, I was like, fuck, I can't do 13 days. Mind you, I didn't did everything under the sun. I've been blessed not to get arrested. I don't know how, but I'll take it. My thing, I'm not going to keep doing that shit and wait. Oh, I don't get arrested. I'm just going to not switch it up, do something different. That's where we continue to keep hold ourselves back. Yes, crabs in the bucket, but why don't you hop out that bucket and let that bucket do their thing? And then you come back with a solution for those other crabs to get out of that bucket differently. Why don't we start doing that? Why don't we notice that we're being held back and we're pitted against each other? Okay, you in a group of people. So you saying I'm in a group of millionaires and my dumb ass ain't a millionaire? Let's change that, bro. That doesn't make sense. So if I'm in a group of drug dealers, I'm going to eventually become a drug dealer because that's what I'm surrounding myself by. If I'm with a group of deadbeats and I'm allowing them to be deadbeats around me, I'm going to eventually be a deadbeat. If I'm in a group of people that don't have ambition to do anything, we're going to wake up, we're going to play the video game, we're going to call each other, we're going to cheat on our girls, and we're going to act like it's cool. That's exactly what you're going to be doing. So let's change that. Our thought structure is only what we can make. We can control a lot of things. Some things we can't control. We can't control how people view us. Fuck how they view us. Let's view ourselves. We taking the view of what they got and we letting that be our view. That's not my view. I wasn't born like that. I was born a fucking king. Somewhere down the line, we all forgot that we were kings. We forgot that we were great. We forgot that we had power that other people didn't have. Hence the reason that they don't want us to be what we are. Period. Nobody hates somebody that's not worthy of being anything. But let's remember that shit. Like, the importance of a black man is a black man noticing that you're not just a black man, dog. You're a fucking leader. You're a fucking king. You have greatness that can't nobody take from you unless you allow them to. Nobody can do anything to you that you don't allow. Period, man. So let's just start right there with this conversation. Like, yeah, we've been held back for over hundreds of years. Okay, now what? What are we going to do tomorrow? Because tomorrow I'm not being held back. Today, I'm learning that greatness is in my face. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 great men and a fucking queen. So let's do something with it, man. Period. Like, I'm going to stop.
Right.
I'm going to keep going.
That's right.
Hey, but
get that man a fan. Get that man a fan.
That's right. That's right.
Hey.
I just wanted to chime in just 1 second, man, because I lost contact. Just lost some energy, so I couldn't really get in there. But brother, I feel all of that, man, and I really appreciate your energy and your insight. See, I did 26 years. I've been home for almost. I'm two months away from 2 years, right? And one of my biggest challenges is finding me a queen. I've found some imposters. I've had some encounters that have been some imposters, but I have not been able to find a queen who understands that I need a space where I can take my armor off, that I've been in my armor and it's heavy, right? And I'm sweating underneath it. And I have yet to find a queen who understands that, right? And who understands that position that I'm in while I'm still building. So I'm building my life, right? And so I just opened up my own business. You know, I'm the owner of a consulting company
I'm using my life and my experience. It's difficult to find individuals who haven't done the work, right? So there's this internal work that you mentioned that has to happen first. And I'm so grateful for prison, right? Because in there, I found myself and I was able to redevelop me. But I know that there's still so much more for us to do, but it happens in spaces like this. And I'm not allowed that many spaces like this. On the inside, I had some spaces like this, right? That we were able to cultivate and we were able to really get together and grind. That's how I was able to find my way from a double life sentence, right? And so I was able, and now I work at a law firm, right? I work for one of the attorneys that hired me, that represented me. She hired me when I got out, but I knew that I just couldn't work for people. I needed to begin and establish something that I laid a foundation of, and sort of because I'm building a legacy. But it's difficult when the sister mentioned about, what role that your queen plays. That's, what that role is. I'm still developing that. So I love hearing what you express, because when you express what that relationship looks like, it gives me something to aspire to, what I should be looking for. And I know what it's going to smell like. I know what it's going to sound like, but it ain't arrived yet. And so I don't have that experience. And the only thing I can speak on is what's true. And that's my experience or the experiences of others. But your experience becomes my experience when I can quiet my spirit and listen to you. I know that one of the things that I've noticed in the city that I'm in, there isn't a lot of Black men in the city I'm in. But the ones that are here, I'm a little afraid to connect to, because, they seem to be crabs in a bucket and they ain't never experienced prison, right? And they're crabs in a bucket. And so I love the fact that Tony, you're a remarkable woman, a remarkable queen who can bring us into a space like this and allow us to absorb this energy. I needed this. And I'm out here moving somebody today, right? Helping her move some stuff out, but I couldn't resist taking part. So I've been like slacking, you know what I mean? But I enjoy this, and I really would like to have the connections of you individuals that's on here. So I'm gonna drop my email and my phone number to Tony in hopes that I can reconvene with you, man, at another time, man, to where we can just really develop connection and relationship and become resources to one another.
Oh yeah. Hey, hold on, before somebody else say something, just to piggyback off of that. Hey JJ, I heard you slide that. We can slide that shot too. We ain't gonna let you forget that, bro.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a
it's all good, man. Hey,
we
Good
need.
Times Barbershop, Stockton, California. My phone number is 209-430-6587. Ain't changed in 20 years. Holla at your boy. We need to
That's
do
your
this
boy.
in real life.
Actually, we do. We really do.
Yeah, because I got more I want to say, but I couldn't get it all in. But I'm not gonna step on nobody else's toes. But I do. But since I am on the line right now, my wife has been a very, very, very big help for me because we were raised different, and I know I was raised in the gutter, in the hood. You know what I'm saying? She was raised in the hood, but she was raised different in the hood. She had that love, the caring that I had, the discipline, the structure, but she had that love. Love is big. It's very, very, very different when it's when it's seen, father to mother, grandmother to daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's passed down like that, and it's reciprocated throughout the family, and then you meet a woman who was raised with love, you know, and you weren't. Or you was raised with love, but in their way, you know. So to see true love is very, very big, and it's something that I'm that I do. I know what is I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. It feels good to be able to let my guard down. That I can have a conversation with my wife, and even if we disagree, she tells me where she's coming from with what she's saying. Now I might not agree immediately, but I got to sit back and think on it. We talk more about it. We talk more about it. Sometimes we talk so much about it, it gets on my nerves, but it's necessary to nip that root. Why do I think like that? Well, this is why I think like that because I was raised like this. But she wasn't. She's seen it, but maybe she didn't see it. She wasn't raised with the experiences I was, so she don't understand what I went through. I don't understand how she can't see it, how I went, how I lived it. Wait a minute, how can you not see this and this and this and this and this and this? Well, because I was seeing it like this, huh? Well, let me try to see it that way, and that makes life a little bit easier. it makes the harder conversations a little bit easier. You know, just harder topics, just hard discussions. You got to do it with love.
Talking about healthy love.
I want to say something.
Charles, let me do something real quick. Foster, I see that you tapped in. Do you want to introduce yourself really quick? I'm trying to make sure that everybody gets voice before we actually go into some final statements or what have you, because y'all time to move so fast. So I'm like, so Foster, you tapped in?
I got nothing to do.
Nothing special about me, just Aaron Foster trying to make my way. I hate that I missed out on, I saw the conversation going, getting strong, but I had to tap out. I had my family going on a trip to the lake, so I had to get all of that together. Then I came back as quickly as I can so I could get some parts of it.
All right, did you have anything that you wanted to say or add before I pass it to Charles, and then I'm gonna give give us a final thing that everybody is gonna participate in?
Well, you know, I'm coming in on a butt end, so I think it's unfair for me to try to chime in. I think it's a privilege just to listen.
Gotcha. Okay, Charles, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, because we don't have spaces like this with the type of people that's on this call, we just have to be careful of, you know, confusing the conversation. And, you know, when we start talking about safe spaces for us to evolve as the Black man, like, I appreciate the Black woman and my wife and all that. It's just that there's so much that we have to, you know, converse about as men and get on the same page if we're actually going to build a movement. Like, you know, it's good to have a conversation, but you're not able to move forward if, you know, we don't devote the time to moving on like order. So I'm just saying that, like, I love it. I just say that in the future, I'm hoping that, you know, when it comes to topics, we kind of stick to that. So.
Ryan?
That was it.
Okay. Yeah, if I could just chime in into what JJ was talking about, that difference between healthy love and traumatic love, right? At least that's how I've experienced and learned it, right? I'm so blessed by the queen I have in my life, Ebony, because realizing that even though we came from the very same neighborhood, the ways we were raised were so different, right? What stability in a family and a household and a healthy dynamic looks like versus, you know, unstable love, right? So many of those things that help ground you in a sense of what does safety look like and how does it look like to really love and support someone. Where I'm watching, I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but I'm also like, that's because I don't get healthy, right? I don't understand what truly healthy and thriving love and relationship looks like, extended throughout generations, right? And that just being such a powerful thing. I think the only other thing I wanted to add to, just to what Charles brought up on the back end of it, I'll put it in the chat here, and I'll probably put it out on social media soon. There is a survey that I'm trying to circulate out for Black men. Let me reiterate that, for Black men. It's not to anybody else, but it's to prioritize us and try to create spaces that we need. Because as I've talked with so many brothers on this call, specifically, and other brothers who might be listening in, we need to have those intentional spaces where we're unpacking what it is that we've been through, what those damages look like, but in a safe way where we can talk freely and openly about what that experience has been. When we don't have that, it becomes that much harder and that much challenging. I've heard a lot of that mentioned on this call. And again, it's something that I want to cultivate with others, right? But we have to understand where we at and what are the spaces that we're at. So I put that in the chat for the brothers on this call. I'll probably put it out online so folks can get into it. But I definitely want that survey to go to Black men. So even as you fill it out, send it to other Black men you know, because our experiences are so vast and it's a spectrum, right? We talk about it when we talk about Black folks, we're not a monolith. Our experience isn't monolithic either. It's very similar. There's a lot of things that look similar, but we also have to start being able to have these spaces where we authentically have these conversations in safe environments where we know we're around our brothers who understand some of the challenges and the things we face and get the mentality that a lot of people just won't be able to get because they are not Black men. So I just want to throw that in there real quick, but I appreciate the space and this time.
So I remember, Ryan, one thing that I remember that came to mind, I'm just gonna say this, which is why when we first got on and we were prepping, I was so just smiling from ear to ear and happy, is I remember telling my brother one time when it comes to just some relationship stuff. I was like, Ryan, it just shouldn't be so hard. Especially, you know, in the beginning. In the beginning, it shouldn't be so hard. Nothing should be so difficult. You know, it's like when you are trying to force something to fit in the beginning, that's already a sure sign that, you know, that it's just something wrong. It shouldn't ever be that hard. You know, you're going to hit your rough spots and rough patches. There are places that you'll have to work through and all of that stuff with your degrees of difficulty. But if you are trying stuff on and you're trying to force yourself to fit in 2 sizes too small, if you're trying to walk in shoes that, you know, are too big, yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult. You got to recognize that stuff right from the gate. Anyway, so here's the wrap up then that I want, and everybody that is on, I want everybody to be able to just leave something. I want you to picture your younger self, your 20 to 25-year-old self. See yourself where I'm laughing, and where some of y'all were, wherever you were in your worst state, whatever. And I want you to know that when you actually speak right now, you're speaking to your younger self, but I need you to know that you've got a generation of the younger yous that are going to glean from what you're about to say. So if there's one thing right now today, one nugget of pearl of wisdom that you would want to send back or speak to your younger self back in the day, what would that be? I'm gonna give you a minute to meditate on that. What wisdom would you want to speak to your younger self?
I got mine. Can I go first?
I'm ready too right now.
I'm ready too.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
I would say to my younger self, look for those bridges that's going to help you get to the destination that you want to get to. Believe in your dreams, know that you can achieve it, right? And all the haters and naysayers that you're going to pass along the way, man, you know, just keep focused on what that person, that's that bridge, is connecting you to.
Mm. Look for the bridge. Look for the bridges. Church?
Just understand the fact that
I want you to speak to your younger self directly.
I'm telling myself this now because I still tell myself this today. Tomorrow isn't promised. Understand that each day that you live, you have to live with a certain amount of value and process it for what it was. It was that day. The next day can be better. It's not always going to be like that. Greatness is in you if you want it. You just have to want it. Nobody can define greatness for you. You can define greatness for yourself. Don't look for greatness in others. Find it in yourself.
Tomorrow is not promised. Thank you, Wu. If you could just drop those inside the chat, I appreciate it. Tomorrow is not promised. And greatness. So tomorrow is not promised. And the next day you can do better. And greatness is in you. Greatness is in you.
But just let me explain why I said that, because I used to doubt myself. Like how we all said, I didn't believe in myself and I had to find myself. And from 20 to 25, I met my wife when I was 22 years old. So from 20 to 25, I was in the process of trying to be a man and trying to be a boyfriend and understand that being a man and a boyfriend are two different things. And I was trying to find myself. And I had to realize that I was great and I did deserve what I had, the blessings I had, because I didn't feel worthy of the things that was happening for me. So I didn't know how to process things and engage in life like that. So I felt like I cheated myself pretty much.
Isaiah?
It may sound cliche, but when you unpack that, it's layers to it. But I would just say love yourself.
You want to elaborate on that? Or
I pretty much just like find yourself and actually love yourself and find your true identity within, you know, on top of everything, you know, you may be going through. And once you truly find yourself, then you know you can love yourself.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Stephen?
I would say to my younger self, just watch the people I surrounded myself with, and just watch people I surrounded myself with, and watch my areas, because I made wrong decisions hanging with the wrong people.
I appreciate that. Watch the people that you surround yourself with. You can make wrong decisions by hanging with wrong people. Who's next? Jefferson?
What would I tell my younger self? First, I would tell my younger self, man, love yourself. Really love yourself. I would tell my younger self that I don't have to downplay the greatness that I had and within myself. Not to play my standards lower to fit other people's. I would tell myself that I don't have to adapt to fit into a place I didn't belong. I would tell my younger self that understand the difference between conditional love and pure love. I would tell myself that regardless on who it's coming from, understand that if it's not my best interest, I don't have to follow. I would tell myself that everybody that's smiling in my face really didn't have my best intentions. I would tell myself that certain bonds don't have to have loyalty tied to and walk away. I would tell myself that all family is not family. I would tell myself that at the end of the day, I have to be what God put in me, what God intended me to be. I would tell myself that a life of destruction is no life to live. I would tell myself that, regardless of where I started, I didn't have to stay. I don't have to accept what was told to me. I would tell myself, man, life is worth living, live it. I'm done.
Yeah. JJ, did you go yet?
No, not yet. I tell myself, don't procrastinate. If it's your time, if it's something that you got in your mind to do, try it. Only thing that beats a try is a fail. You know, um, if you don't do something, don't do it. Be you. You don't smoke, don't smoke. You don't drink, don't drink. Be you. Stand up for who you are, and others around you will respect you for it, no matter how old you get, no matter what. Be you. At the end of the day, that's it.
Michael?
Yep. I would tell myself that the abuse that I'm experiencing is not my fault. I would tell myself that those who I cannot forgive are those that I'm chaining myself to. And I'm going to drag them with me for the rest of my life. So forgive them and move on. I would tell myself that I don't have to fit in, that my smarts, my skills are designed for me not to fit in. So it's okay not to fit in, that I can survive not fitting in, that I can survive some of those strong negative emotions without covering them with anger. I would tell myself that you're going to be all right. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and listen to those wise counselors that are in your life. And I would tell myself to make sure that I stay true to who I am, no matter what. And that all of my actions will have consequences. That the seeds that I bring forth into the life, my children,
are extensions of who I am. And so it's important for me to guide them and to instruct them in the ways that they should go. And that I should be careful of who I mix my blood with, because they may have a different set of values. And they may want to raise my children counter to what is best for them. I would tell myself that today might be raining, but tomorrow the sun will shine. Don't give up. And that I need to be the strongest voice in my head. That other people can give me influence, but they're only an influence. I get to dictate my choices. And that's what I would tell myself.
Parents.
Yeah, I would tell them that you're beautiful, man. That your life has agency. You are somebody. That your life has meaning. You know, I'll tell them this is my phone number. You know, call me. The sky's blue. You know, call me because the night's black. You know, call me just because, man. You know, like if I could be with my younger self, I would be the mentor that I was looking for. You know, and that's what I challenge everybody here, you know, to continue to do too. You know, we all said it, is that we didn't know how to be fathers. We didn't know how to be the male role models. I mean, we didn't have it growing up, but now that we're older, we're over 25, you know, we can be the mentor or the positive role model in the next person like us, you know. So, you know, all in all, if I could go be with the person with me back in the day, I would let them know that, you know, there's a lot of people going on at that age for like getting stopped.
Get up, T.
I'm not trying to get most of the time. And, like, you know, it's just like really young black men. It's hard because
Your volume, bro. I can't hear you going in and out.
Breaking up, T. Breaking up.
Can't hear you. Chopping up.
I think we lost him.
No, he's there. It's just that he chopped it up, so I had to mute it. Who hasn't? Aaron and Ryan. You haven't gone yet either, Ryan, right? Okay, Foster. Aaron, I can't hear you. Try unmuting yourself. While he's doing that, Brian, I was trying to wrap up with you.
Oh wow.
With Ryan.
Man, I just want to give honor to everything that everybody shared with their younger selves and the truths that they're giving to each other and the reflections that's happening. Because I think that's one of the most powerful tools we have as Black men, is to understand the reflection that we need and what's there. I think for myself, speaking of myself, I would definitely say trust your gut. Trust your gut, trust your gut, trust your gut. And the questions that you have that you either feel you have to shrink yourself down to not ask or to make other people comfortable. Trust the questions you have that will help give you the wisdom for the answers you don't have now. Trust the questions you have to be the thing that gives you the discernment of where you need to be, where you deserve to be, and where you want to stay away from. I would say understand and trust the brilliance that you have within you. And don't be afraid to dive all the way into it. Don't be afraid to go to the thing that's drawing you instead of making others stepping back to make others feel comfortable because they might need that more so than you ever know. Make no regrets about the mistakes you make because those are the lessons that you're learning. That's the opportunity to get it now versus 40 years down the line where it might be too late. I would also say to believe in yourself with the same intentionality, love, and conviction that you believe in others. Give that same love and self-compassion to yourself and know that it's okay when you're not feeling good, when you don't trust things, when you don't feel safe, because you need to find what that safety is and that you deserve to feel those. And I'd say lastly, trust the circles that you're building around you because they will help you see what you can't see. Even when you're asking the questions and you don't let them know that you're asking the questions to get better insight, be clear with that. Share with them what your deeper feeling is and your deeper question is, and be open that you are looking to gain wisdom from them instead of doing it from the backside. Absolutely believe in love. I love that, JJ, for real. That's about it.
So let me see. Foster, are you there?
Type the message in the group.
Yeah, he put it in the chat.
He says, I would tell my younger self to invest in real estate and to live like a sniper because snipers don't waste shots and shots are opportunities. I would tell myself that snipers are killers. Make sure you kill the spirit. I can't see the rest of it. I don't know if it's more or not.
I think it's spirit of fear.
Spirit of fear.
First.
That's good.
That's
right.
good.
Right. So I want you guys to know that I hope you know how much each of you individually mean to me. I mean, for real. Like I learned so much from you. And I want you to also know this from my sincere heart. I say it a lot in sacred spaces that I hold sacred and true. I grew up on the concrete. I grew up in the hood. I grew up on the block. Everybody calls it something different. In just kind of in a unique space, and suffered a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt, a lot of stuff. And I isolated myself for many years because of that. And what I want to say in this space is that for Stephen and the Jefferson and the JJ, and the Ryan, Charles, Michael, Isaiah, Terrence, Aaron, Church, Marcel had to jump off, and others, Jabari. There are so many others. Tim, I'm putting it out there in the atmosphere. Kelvin, I get teary and emotional. Being in the presence of these kings that I'm surrounded by, that I didn't pick you, God chose you. You healed what was broken in my spirit and repaired the breach that was created. Help me to trust Black men. JJ, cutting my hair. I could talk to you about anything. You make me laugh and you let me cry. You know, Stephen, I know that we don't talk, you know, and you don't know me, but you trusted me to come into this space. And I know that that's sacred for you. That is sacred for you. You don't trust easy. You know, Jefferson, you have always been there when we have rap sessions, all of that. And if I'm not clear, we don't even have to agree on it, but I know that I could like hash it out. You know what I'm saying? And you make that space. You don't pull any punches. You are authentic and true all the time. Terrence scared the hell out of me when I first met him because he was so loud and radical and all of that. But you know what? When he said, I would tell my younger self I am beautiful, I almost burst into tears because when I see him, I see a beautiful Black man. You know, Isaiah, you treat me like a mother. You entreat me like I mean, for real. Just, and there is nothing. I feel comfortable, safe, sheltered, protected. Charles, it was a conversation with you that reminded me of the mandate and call of discipleship on my life, and that I do not have to come into this space and just be straight hood and concrete. I can come in this space with the anointing of God on my life, and I can speak through that love and operate in that love, and I don't have to compromise that love, because it's that light and love that is drawing people to me. You know, Ryan, you already know. I mean, we have cried together, laughed together, and at the end of the day, I already know if I need to call and talk about anything to anybody, that you'll stop time in order to ensure that my spirit is right. In church, oh God, I mean,
Don't do me.
for you,
Oh, you already know. You always make me cry. I'm good. I know. I love you. That's it. That's all we need to say. I love you. We good.
I need to say it.
Take this love, King. Take this love. Take this love she's about to give you.
I'm proud of the man that you are. I am proud. The wife that you have is a reflection of the king that you are. That woman that you have, the love, and I don't mean she don't have to pretend, the love that she speaks, that radiates out of her pores, the way that she sees you and esteems you, is a reflection of the man that you are behind closed doors. And the fact that you actually challenge yourself to be that inside and outside, that speaks volumes to who you are. You said something that was profound to me. In this space. Sometimes we don't have an example of what to do, but Stephen, we just know innately what's right. And kings, I want to tell you from a queen's perspective, you have it in you already. You have the making of greatness in you already, and all of you know it. And all of you are aspiring to it some way, shape, or form. You influence many. When you speak, women listen, children listen, men listen, the community listens. You instill fear in the white man. You instill fear in this white system. You instill fear wherever you go because of the crown that you have on your spirit. You don't even realize it some of the time. And so, hey, I want you to shift and correct your crown today. Today, your crown is shining, it's glistening, it's all of that. Yeah, you guys are amazing, and we celebrate you. We celebrate you. So I appreciate the space. I appreciate you allowing me to even hold this space with you. I already know. I shine my jewels too. Y'all ain't gotta say a word. I already know. But I.
Time out. I left my thing on mute because I knew you was about to try to do that. Nope, you ain't doing it.
Oh, so we gotta go.
Thank you for this space. We truly needed this. Like, I don't know about, well, no, I'm speaking for everybody. We needed this.
No, we did. We did.
You are truly great, and we need you more than we tell you enough that we need you, and we love you for sure.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree.
Elder Tony, I don't get on for nobody, so you gotta know. You gotta be special.
Elder Tony, you know I put a pause in my day for you.
No. I love you guys so much. I absolutely do. And so we celebrate you, unsung heroes.
And
you,
and Charles, you in there?
We celebrate you. This is it. And
hey, on Mike, man, take down my number. It's inside of the chat.
Yeah, I screenshot it, so everybody that dropped their numbers and emails, I got it. I screenshotted it.
All right. Asante.
Ryan, put the survey inside the group chat that I created in Messenger. And then I also put the survey on Anti-Black Conversations. Everybody that has been chimed in and stuff, I know that this was rich for sure. And I appreciate the love. When you go back and look at it, you guys, I'm sorry, I'll have to answer some of the questions and respond to some of the dialogue that is in here, because it's been rich. And so we're gonna tap out Facebook. We love y'all so much. Y'all wait to Facebook. Who is tapping in?